In this recording, we're going to look at factoring quadratics, where the a value is not equal to 1. And when I'm talking about the a value, what I mean is this number that's in front of the squared variable. It's the leading coefficient. Okay? This is pretty challenging here. So I'm going to show you a method that will work, and it'll in fact work for any quadratic. Okay, so not just this kind. Let's back up and first look at a model for multiplying, because in fact, when we factor, we are doing the opposite of multiplying. So if I wanted to multiply this pair of binomials, I could do so using an area model. Okay, so I'm going to draw a little window, and on the top I'm going to write 4x and a 3, in other words plus 3, and on the right side I'm going to write the x minus 4. Okay. And now in each box I just need to write the product. So 4x times 1x, 4x squared, right? 4x times negative 4, negative 16x. 3 times x, 3x. 3 times negative 4, negative 12. Not so bad, right? Now I'm going to write out all my terms. 4x squared minus 16x plus 3x minus 12. Of course, we can combine those middle terms, right? And we've got a 4x squared minus 13x minus 12. Okay, so that would be the way to multiply out this binomial into this quadratic. Of course, that's not what we were trying to do in the first place. We were trying to go in this direction. Take the quadratic and factor it into that binomial. All right, so we're going to use the same process in the reverse order. Okay? Back to our original problem. We've got our a, b, and c. So what I'm going to do is I need to think of what is 2 times 5, that's 10. In other words, that's the a times the c value, that's 10. I need to find two numbers that multiply to be 10 and add up to negative 11. That's the b value here. Okay? So of course that would be negative 1 times negative 10. Two numbers that multiply to be 10, add up to negative 11. All right? So I'm going to split up that negative 11m like this. 2m squared minus 1m minus 10m plus 5, which is the exact same thing as we have right here, right? It's just rewritten in a different format. Good. So let's take those four parts and let's put them in our window. Okay, so the 2m squared goes here, the 5 goes here. Doesn't matter the order of the other two terms, so I'm just going to write minus 1m, and here I'm going to write minus 10m. Didn't really leave myself enough space here, so I'm going to use a different color just to show it, okay? So now I just have to find the GCF, the greatest common factor of these two terms. Of course, that would be 2m, right? And I found the greatest common factor of those terms. Well, they don't really have one other than 1, so I'm just going to write a 1. Now, I'm not sure if it's a positive or negative 1 for a minute, so I'm just going to leave it as a 1. Greatest common factor right here, well, that would just be an m, right? And the greatest common factor right here would be a 5. Now I just have to think, wait a second. 1 times 5 makes 5, but it won't work out with the negative. There has to be a negative in here somewhere, so it's got to be a negative 5 and a negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 5 still makes 5. Everything works out nicely. Then on the borders, I have my factors. So it's 2m minus 1 is one factor. m minus 5 is the other factor. Of course, we can check that if we wanted by multiplying out, and we should get back to where we started, that original quadratic. Pretty cool. Let's do one more. Okay. All right, so again, I have to start with the a times the c. Well, I guess first off, I should just look to see if I have a greatest common factor, because that would make things a lot easier. I don't. And I didn't in the previous example either. I should have looked for that first. I do not. I think about 3 times negative 10, that's negative 30. I want two numbers that multiply to be negative 30 and add up to the b value, which is that 1 in front of the m. So 6 and negative 5, I think. Great. So let's rewrite this as 3m squared. I'm going to split up the 1m like this. I'm going to make it into a 6m and a negative 5m. Okay? Cool. So now I just put those into my window in their 4 places. Always the squared term, top right corner. Just kind of makes things in the right order, although it doesn't really matter. I'll go with a 6m and a negative 5m. Okay? GCF here. Okay? Think about what that is. That would be an m. GCF going across. That would be a 3m. GCF going up. 2. GCF going across the bottom. That would be a 5. Now, because this is a negative 10 and this is a negative 5, they're both negative. This has to be a negative, right? These have only one negative, so 2 times negative 5 makes negative 10. It seems to work out. I'm going to keep this positive. Okay? So I have an m plus 2, one factor. 3m minus 5 is the other factor. If you're interested in more examples, there's another video with more examples following this one. Thanks for watching.